Hey, what's happening, everybody? Today we're going to be doing my first fantasy book review ever. And to be honest, this is like the first fantasy book that I've read in several years, so I don't really have much to compare it to, but I'm going to give it a shot. And it is Half a King by Joe Abercrombie. I picked this book up largely, basically because of the cover. As you're going to find, I don't know a lot about all these fantasy series, so if I think it looks cool and it sounds cool, I'm probably just going to pick it up. At least until I know the authors and subgenres that I like. But this one looked interesting, and from what I heard, it was like a survival story, which I love, and it's like in the tundra or something, as you can see by all the snow. And to me, I really connect to that because of this. And this is my backyard, so you guys can probably see why I do appreciate sort of the tundra and sort of winter and snow and ice atmosphere. So yeah, there you go. Now I guess let's start with the bad. The main problem I guess I had with this book was all of the like bad guys or villains or antagonists or whatever. All of them were pretty lackluster, to be honest. One was super predictable. The other one didn't really make a lot of sense per se to me. It's more just like a weird vendetta thing. And then the last one that I found the most interesting, Gorn, didn't have hardly any time in the book at all. So a lot of it was more like anticipation if the protagonist and their party ever like got caught by any of them, rather than too much actual direct confrontation with them. To me, they just didn't seem very fleshed out, and I guess that makes them a little bit less sinister, in my opinion. On the positive side, the book definitely has a good premise. It's entitled Half a King because the main character, Prince Yarvi, is born with sort of like a mangled hand or a deformed hand, and that obviously makes him, half a man, so he's therefore half a king. He really wants to just sort of be on the sidelines and be a minister, that sort of thing. But before he's able to do so, he's kind of thrust into the kingship before he's ready or really even wants to. And eventually he has to he has to survive in this world, literally and figuratively. And that's what I also liked about it too, is a lot of it was actually like a literal survival thing. I don't want to give anything away, but him and his party literally have to survive, and part of it is actually in the tundra, and I thought that was really cool. I mean, I'm from like the far north, so I really appreciate when sometimes instead of just like the wilderness, it's literally the wasteland of like ice and snow. To me, that I totally connect with that. Lastly, what I also liked going for it was that a lot of the problems that Yarvi has and his companions have to face, they deal with it more with wits per se than brute force, and that just worked really well. Especially obviously for half a king, he has to rely more on his mental aptitude than his strength. The ending was somewhat I mean, you kind of saw it coming, definitely, as the book kind of goes along, but I felt it was well written, so even though it was sort of predictable, it was still a satisfying ending when you're actually reading it, so I did appreciate that. Overall, I'm going to give Half a King 4 stars out of 5. I'll definitely check out Joe Abercrombie's other works, and also, apparently I didn't know this was a young adult book when I first picked it up, but it really doesn't read too much, not that I have really any familiarity with young adult or adult fantasy, but to me it really didn't feel like a kid's book, so definitely check it out if it sounds like your thing. And remember, read victoriously.